Secretary Griswold, I'm sure you have heard people make the argument, I've heard people make the argument several times on our air, that it's Colorado. Trump was never going to win Colorado. It is politically not particularly relevant. That may be true. You can make that argument. You can also disagree with that argument. I welcome that. But there are also a number of states, more than a dozen, where they're pending suits very similar to this one. So what happens in Colorado does not just happen, Secretary, in Colorado.
Well, the answer to that really is dependent on whether other states follow the Colorado Supreme Court precedent and whether the United States Supreme Court weighs in. I hope, should know very quickly if the United States Supreme Court is going to weigh in. But at the end of the day, Section 3 of the 14th Amendment says that no person who takes an oath to uphold the Constitution and then engages in insurrection or rebellion can hold office again. The very basis of this entire court case is that Donald Trump stormed and incited the insurrection. People stormed the Capitol with the intent of disenfranchising voters across this nation by stealing the presidency from them. So no matter what happens, we are only here because Donald Trump has put the nation in this situation.
Secretary Griswold, in a previous life, I worked in voter engagement, particularly for communities that had often been left out of the process, young voters, Latino voters. And one of the things that I learned during that period of time is that often when you talk about disenfranchisement, when you talk about making it harder to vote, it can sometimes have the unintended consequence of demotivating folks, of making them feel like they shouldn't show up, like they shouldn't stand in line, like they shouldn't send in their ballot. And so I wonder, as you talk to voters in Colorado, how you balance the reality of what happened in Colorado, the effort there was to suppress their vote, with the need to make sure that every Colorado voter understands that their vote matters.
That's an exact balancing act. But I do think we've seen in prior years, including 2020, Americans really show up when they know their freedoms are under attack. Look, the fact that Georgians in Atlanta, predominantly Black voters, were standing in lines up to 10 hours in 2020 in the middle of the pandemic is something that should never happen in the United States. But it does, because extremist Republicans, and hey, some moderate Republicans too, are trying to hold on to power by suppressing the vote. But people showed up. And again, in 2022, in the midterms, we saw that the attack on democracy and the attack on women to be full citizens in this country, to be able to get the health care we need through the attacks on abortion access, were extreme motivators. So no matter what happens in this case, our democracy is in a really fragile point. And the people who are going to save it are the American voters, who are going to do what it takes to stand in line, to get registered, and to make their voices heard in the presidential primaries and in the general election next year.